Welcome to the start of a new anime review series. This is Aria the Scarlet Ammo. This one discussing the first 5 episodes of this 12 episode anime, which also had an OVA. We'll discuss that soon. Now, Aria the Scarlet Ammo. This basically says sort of an alternate future in a way where that basically some people basically are hired to be a belly, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, pretty much these people are just hired guns who are similar to police officers in a way, but they're freelancers. A lot of the characters in the series, with the exception of the main character, is a descendant of a famous person. Now, the main character is voiced by the ever awesome Todd Heppercorn. Yep. You think I would pass on a chance to watch a series with him as the star of the show? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he also has this thing where his character, his name is Kenji Tomoya. Now, he has this sort of very strange ability known as a stereo mode. Whenever he kisses a woman, or he gets kissed by a woman, or he, let's just say, touches a woman's breast, he gets physically very strong, and it's he's also very much more smarter. Yeah. And he's the only character who's not technically the descendant of some famous person. Mm-hmm. Now, these are the characters who are basically the supporting cast of the series, who only appear in these episodes, basically. You have Aria Kansuki. The age they revealed in episode 5. She's voiced by Leah Clark. Yeah, who she's related to. The H stands for Holmes. Her full name is Aria Holmes Kansuki, aka Sherlock Holmes IV. Yes, her great-grandfather is the legendary world's greatest detective Sherlock Holmes. Yep. That's quite interesting to say the least. Yeah. Now, you also have Sakura Hogi. She, of course, she doesn't appear very much. She appears in the opening episode of the series, and she appears a few other times here and there. During the course of these episodes, she doesn't appear fully until the very next arc. She's voiced by Brina Priscilla. Now, Aria is voiced by Leah Clark. Strangely about Aria, when you look at her, she looks like let's just say, here's basically what the character looks like. Yep. Well, that's her. I know it's a glare, but let's see. Yeah, but that's simply put what the character looks like. Yeah, she is a very skinny woman who looks like a little girl, but actually she isn't. She's actually 16 years old. Yep. Now, the anime is based upon a light novel series by a guy by the name of Kuchiku Amasako, illustrated by Kobuki. And here's the thing. The series started back in 2008. The anime aired in 2011. Yep. And this is something quite strange, though. Now, I have heard this from one of my commenters, that apparently if a light novel series gets beyond 25 books, basically it's up for some bad luck. This light novel series has had 31 volumes released. Now, these 5 episodes happen the very first book of the series, simply just how Aria the Scarlet Ammo Volume 1. Now, there's a couple of really interesting characters appear in the first episodes. You have Rinko Mine. Oh boy! Yeah, she's a Lucia Christian character, and this character just pure fun. And one thing I did notice when I was talking to my coworkers about this today is that, with the exception of 2, it seems like a majority of the characters' Lucia Christian voice always has to have pigtails. Oh yeah, and they're also going to be smoking hot women. Well, that's basically aside. All the women she voiced are going to be very beautiful, but a lot of whom got pigtails. Yeah, the only ones who don't I can think of is Nami, Ochaku, and I think that's it. Just those 2. Now, Richiko Mine. You might think, when the last name like mine, who is she related to? Her full name is, get this, Rinko Mine Lupin IV. Yes. And it's kind of hinted at that, here's the thing. Her mother is, if I read online, this character is the reason why I got hooked on this series in the first place. Or at least when I first heard about it. because her mother is Fujiko Mine, as in the woman who Lupin III is obsessed with. And this obsession got himself a daughter. I'm like, wow, that is something. Yeah. There's also a woman named Rinky who appears in these episodes. She's basically a close friend of the main characters. She's voiced by Jed Saxton. She's the one with green hair. Yeah. But that's all the characters who appear in just the first 5 episodes. Now, looking for somebody called... Now, the first episode starts off with Kenji just racing to his bicycle with basically kind of like a Uzi basically trying to kill him. And you're probably thinking, what the heck is going on here? Like, why is he chased by basically a motor scooter with a Uzi? Because there's also a bomb underneath his bicycle. And then, basically, out of nowhere, we have Aria jump off a building with a parachute, by the way, and she basically grabs Kenji. Now, this is just in the opening episode. They do have a flashback that takes place prior to this. And he pretty much gets him off the bike, and the bike itself explodes, so she also takes the Uzi as well. What happens next is not revealed until about half of the episode. We then flash back to Kenji, where he is waking up, and get this, by his bedside is a round of bullets. Yes, this is a series obsessed with guns. This is also a series part of that genre of girls with guns, because Aria's got a gun. She's got twin guns. Now, Kanji's got a Beretta. Now, this is also a debut in this scene of Senjuku, basically a shrine maiden who's pretty much his childhood friend. And she's pretty much in love with him. I mean, she doesn't say it at first, but she's basically obsessed with him. In a way where, like, she and, of course, Ari had this in common, like, any woman comes any close to him, they pretty much want to sort of fight with them. Yep. And she can also be wearing the shrine maiden's uniform outfit or wearing her school uniform. And she's basically revealed to be later a paranormal Bretier. Now, there's a mysterious killer trying to kill him off. The reason? Well, the person actually killed Arya instead. Who the killer is, they actually reveal it at the end of episode 4. So, they pretty much have the two work, and then, of course, then after they go to school, on the way to school, he misses the 7:58 bus. So he has to basically ride a bicycle, which that's where Arya comes in. And then, of course, he proceeds to apparently somehow took the time to pull up her shirt, show off the fact she's got a very tiny chest, and found her name and the fact she wears a push-up bra. And, of course, Arya thinks that she thinks that he sexually assaulted her. He really did. All he did was pull up her shirt. And, of course, more of these Uzi things show up. They battle them off, and then, of course, they go off, and then, of course, she goes out to class. And then it's revealed that she transferred to class, too, and she wants next to him. And the thing is, they don't specifically say why at first until, like, the reason why she's here, until, like, a couple episodes in. Now, they agreed to work together for this one specific case, basically the Parente killer. But basically, they come to a mission where he is just looking for a lost cat, because he's licensed to do that. And apparently he has this thing where he really wants to quit his job. The reason? Because his brother got killed. That's the only reason why. Yep, that's the only reason why he wants to quit, because his brother got killed. His brother was also the same thing he was. And if I looked him online, his brother is not a guy. Yeah, that's something that's explained later in light novel series. No, I haven't really read that far yet. But I will eventually in the future probably read that far in the series, because the thing is, the books are not very long. Like, the book that this adapts from, the English translation of this book, is only 166 pages. The second book is like 175 in Japan. It's almost 300 pages. While here it's a lot shorter. Well, the version I read was basically that long. And the third book is actually quite short too. I had to go to different websites basically to read it, because the first two books I was able to download from a specific website. I'm not saying what website it is. If you're curious, you probably have to message me about that, because I'm not gonna feel what I don't want this website to get shut down. So I downloaded these two books and I read them and I really enjoyed them. Now the thing is with the covers, the books. Now the thing is the first two books of the series have been released here in English. For some reason they stopped. Don't know why they stopped, but they did. Yep, they did. After just two books. Even though there's like 31. Yeah. There is also a spin-off series. I will eventually get a chance to review it at some point. It's called Aria the Scarlet Ammo AA. That's what it's called. Now the two books that basically have been released here. The first book came out. Now, the first book in Japan came out on August 25th, 2008, while the English release was released in August 28th. Actually, 25th in Japan. It was August of 2013. It took 5 years to release this book, and then I would say, not exactly 3 months later, like it was in Japan with its release. With Japan, basically, the second book was released on Christmas Day. Why no Christmas Day? No idea. Here, it was released on May 22nd, 2014. And then after that, they stopped. Yep. Why in the world they stopped? No idea. It was released by Digital Media over here. So, they eventually, through the course, they have the Bratska first. They have a couple things about investigation, like one point it actually hijacks a bus, they're able to stop it thanks to Rinko being helped out. Now, helping out Aria and Kanchi, which of course, basically, it turns out Aria was hired. It turns out Rinko was hired by Aria to protect her because she can't swim. Yep, and in episode 4, this episode I found quite interesting. We get introductions to her mother. Yes, there's one at one point in the episode. I think it's episode 3. This has something that happened in the light novel. I'll talk about in a minute. In episode 4. We get used to Aria's mother. Lovely woman. She's voiced by Stephanie Young. Great voice actress, by the way. Great choice. She's in prison for a crime she actually commit. And she's got, get this, 850 life sentences. And she's also scheduled to be executed. Is this overkill? Yeah, the reason why she's here because she has knowledge of a criminal organization that apparently it's a crime to actually have this knowledge. I'm like, this sounds very familiar. To a character Stephanie Young is also voiced in One Piece, Nico Robin, where it's illegal in that series to translate these particular these poneglyphs. Yeah, it's a very similar thing. The only difference is the character in this series is in prison, while Robin is basically with the Straw Hat Pirates. It's very similar. It's a very similar plot thread. I don't think that the writer of the series ripped this character off from Nico Robin. It's just a very similar thing, and it just by sheer coincidence that both this character and Nico Robin have got the same English dub actor. Yep. So. And she basically, now she likes the fact she doesn't mind the fact her daughter's ready to try to investigate who was really responsible for it, but she's like, she really needs to find a partner. She does. Episode 3 I found to be quite interesting. Now, at the end of episode 1, Aria moves in with Kanji, claiming him to be a slave. To get some food, and then of course by the next morning, she's hungry for breakfast, so she wakes him up by kicking him and stepping on him. That was so funny. Yeah, then later they ate some fast food. And then, of course, at one point he had to basically leave the apartment. And then when he came back a little early, she was actually taking a shower. And then they had the scene that actually did happen in the light novel where he's basically trying to hide her weapons because, Sequoia's basically nearby. And she opens the door and she's completely naked. In the light novel, Kanji does see everything. But here's the thing. The anime actually sort of censored this scene, but all they did was simply add steam to cover up her small chest. In the light novel, you kind of see everything, but you don't really see everything because her arms are covering her breast. Yeah, so this scene did happen, but it's the same exact scene, except they made some slight censoring, which I don't think was really a big problem. Yeah. The thing is, the claim where, oh yeah, where Arya claims him as a slave, that had to happen in episode 1. Now, in episode 4, the Bride of Kill hijacks a plane that Arya is going on because, well, she and Kanji got into a fight. Then, of course, well, he sneaks onto the plane, basically because he's an actual Barate, so he's able to get on board. And he does run into her. And they find out who the Bride Killer is. It's it's Rico Mine, who reveals he's actually a descendant of the original Lupin, who apparently fought Sherlock Holmes in this continuity, which I'm thinking, though, okay, it may happen in this continuity, but in any Sherlock Holmes story you probably think of, but I don't think Sherlock Holmes ever actually met this French thief at all. Not that I can think of, no, because Sherlock Holmes was invented in the late 1800s, while in the case of original Lupin, he came out in 1905. And in case you're curious, though, no, I've never read the original source material where where the Lupin even come from. I have never read it. Because I just currently don't have any desire to. That's the simple gist of it. Yep. So, yeah, she feels she's actually, well, the son of Lupin. Of course, she does this because of the rivalry between Holmes and Lupin, which to me that doesn't make much sense because Sherlock Holmes' arch nemesis is Moriarty, not Lupin. Why the heck this series wrote it that way for? I have no idea. So Rinko wants to take out Arya because of pure jealousy. She shoots her. And of course, well, Kanji takes her to another room to get treated, though he ends up basically unzipping her jacket and basically puts like a little injection in her chest. Then when she wakes up, he thinks that, well, they did it again. And in order to calm her down, he makes out with her. Now, this is the second time he goes to stereo mode. He did also in episode 4 as well. This is the first time he's actually kissed a woman in the series. And it's Arya. And she's like, that was my first. And Kanji's like, me too. Yeah, their first kisses with each other. But at least he made out with a woman instead of like with Naruto. His first kiss was Sasuke. And he basically says that doesn't count. Because he's never kissed a woman. Because he doesn't want to remember. It was disgusting. Yeah, then of course they kind of briefly battle Rinko and she gets away. Don't worry, she does return in book 3. Don't worry about that. Though she kind of gets replaced with a different character, voiced by one of my favorite voice actors. I will be discussing this character in episode. Get back to their apartment. She reveals that she's actually the descendant of Holmes. And he's like, what? And then the episode ends with his childhood friend charging at Arya, setting up what will happen in episode 6. Yep. All in all, great episode. Love the animation. Plus, I love the theme song they actually held for the series called Scarlet Bullet. It's an absolutely fantastic song. And it's an overall really good set of episodes. Definitely looking forward to discussing the next 4. Now, this I'm only doing 4 videos instead of my sometimes usual 3 when it comes to episode anime. Well, there's a reason for that, because I want to discuss the OVA in a separate video. Though it does have something in common with a few other anime I watched, like Death March Parallel Rhapsody, where the first book is covered in like 5 episodes. High School DxD, kind of the same thing. First book covered in 5 episodes. Excuse me. And it's also the same thing with Arfria, where the first book covered in 5 episodes. So you were thinking, wait, what about Goblin Slayer? Well, that's covered for most of the series because, well, the first book. And what about Cautious Hero? First 6 episodes, not the first 5. Yep. So yeah, that's it for Signal View. Stay tuned for not very long from now, because I'm basically about almost done with episode 8. And then I'll watch episode 9, then I'll do my review for it. And then I'll watch the final 3 episodes of the series, which take me like an hour. And pretty much for today, I'll be finishing up. I'll be going through the series pretty quickly. But see you in the next video. Bye.